pilot episode.
The pilot episode of Out of the Blue comes from the zoo, and Jason Warwick is here as a co-host today. So I thought it's a great way to extend what is really inspiring in the mind. That's what actually inspired this idea of just put myself out there and just to start extending, not necessarily have any idea of, what will come out and what is the form as a result of that extension, but just the fact that, just the willingness just to put us out there and trust if the Spirit can use us in a way that that it will be most helpful for the mind, for our mind, and for the whole. So that was the idea. So that's really, what I feel really inspired by is just to put myself out there and to share every bit of myself and being completely transparent. And this show, I guess, I'm here in Camas, and I'm here with maybe 10 other people in the studio. And we were actually just in the gathering talking about what's going to unfold tonight. And I was thinking, like, if I'm really going to do this show, like, full on, because right before that we were talking about maybe even do it daily and doing it live, just to be there, just to show up, just to show up and allow the presence to speak. So I was just in the gathering room. We went into this deep meditation, and I was thinking, if it is to be done, then just make it really obvious. And what come out of that prayer of being shown obviously is this: we all of a sudden said, okay, we're going to do this show tonight, as we're going to do the pilot show tonight. So I thought that's pretty obvious.
That's how you know it's given.
Yeah.
You're praying and it happened.
Mm-hmm. Praying for being shown always, in a very obvious way, and this is beautiful, so that I know it is given, it is the most helpful, and it is the will of the Spirit, so that I know for sure, because just it happens, and it's so flowing, and just have so much support as well. So
that's our guidance now. It's not so much hear this and do that. It's what's obvious, what's being presented, what's given.
Yeah.
I'm just going with that.
Yeah.
We've been celebrating a lot, I feel like, the past few days, that really no control over anything, what comes through, where it seems to come from, all of it. It's all about, like, cleaning out these pipes. You use, like, a pipe.
Yeah, pipe, like, we can see ourselves as a pipe, and the water, our sole function is to allow the water to flow through the pipe and not have any interference and obstacles to stop the flow of the water. But as we're doing it, eventually the pipe gonna disappear. We're gonna realize we are the water. Actually, there is no pipe, but we're not to miss any step. To say that, okay, there is no body, and
I'm the water.
Yeah.
You are, but be the pipe first.
Be the pipe first. Be a good pipe.
Well, that was analogous to, like, just saying don't see error, as a concept, as opposed to just totally being willing to be done through, no matter how it looks. Because I felt like one of the highlights of our talk this morning was that, like an Advaita Vedanta teacher or someone who's really in that experience, and it's just kind of pouring out of them, but they say a lot of things like, it just happens. just happens. You had no choice. The script is written, and it's beautiful. And then you have someone like David, or us, our path, which is hear the specifics, speak them, hear them, speak them, and they can seem to answer a deeper prayer or address things.
Yeah.
But there's no difference.
There is no difference. It only seems to be different to say that it's all happening. There is no mistake. It's the script is written, so it seems like you don't have to get involved or engaged even. So that seems to be interpretation, and the other interpretation of something that following the spirit guidance seems to be very much engaged. You have to pray and tune in and to be following very willingly, and seems like it's very different. But the difference is only there when we're still on the path, so to speak. At the end, there is no difference. And also this following the spirit, follow the script, follow the guidance path is really leading towards that experience. That's what I see, and that's what I realized. Because I remember that I used to say this when Ramana Maharshi said there are only two pathways. One is the direct inquiry, who am I? You just sit there and ask every thought you have directly, who am I, who is the I that is this or that. And the other pathway is the path of devotion, which is you just follow the will of God and relinquish your own will, basically. And he said these two are exactly the same, but you won't see that they're the same at the beginning. You see that they're like different pathways, and yet they're exactly the same. They all leads to the same realization, and before that, they both mean nothing really. There is no right or wrong, better or worse, but they're all just helpful stepping stones.
They've merged.
Yeah.
Like, that's what our consolidation has been, is everything merging. Being in or extending. Community, no community. God is in everything I see, because God is in my mind. Like, internal meditation versus, it's all been merging, including script is written, and so all these contradictions they'll be there in form, but in mind they're not there anymore.
Yeah.
What comes from the ego and the Holy Spirit? It's like there's no ego, so it's all merging.
Right. And that's what I was just seeing actually in the last couple of days, how this direct talking, like the direct talk about truth, for example, saying that there is no ego or there is no error, see beyond errors, how these are ultimately true, and yet they can be used to be a block. I just really started to see that because I guess for me, I just really resonate with those direct talks. I also resonate with the seeming talk around the ego, like the ego dynamics, but I have this real resonance with the direct talk of there is no error, there is no ego at the same time. But for me, I guess it just never has been my path to go the direct route. It doesn't work for me to go there. Like I tried that, and I feel like it's not really bring me an experience, because the mind must be very, deep asleep or something. It doesn't really, it feels comfortable talking about it, and yet when it triggers something really deep, those inquiry for some reason wouldn't really allow those deep buried emotions to come up, and something that is buried together with those emotions won't come up either. And all of those are really coming up and are letting go of by the other seeming route, which was the following the guidance part. Yeah.
In essence, that's our path. It's our community's path. has been following the guidance to come to this merge.
So I feel like, what I was trying to get to was that just to see that actually bring me to a deeper sense of humbleness, even, to see that, people who are talking in a dualistic term doesn't mean they don't have a non-dualistic experience. And whatever comes out of the mouth doesn't really necessarily mean anything, just like they can be so washed away, like they can be so clear of judgment that they have no judgment of what's coming out of their mouth. They're so fully used, and there is no judgment on one or the other. So like never really, I just feel like, wow, that's truly, something deep. And if there's still a judgment or assessment around form, around the way that people are talking or the style that people are using, then we're still missing the point,
It gives a real freedom. It's like it gives myself just this real permission to really not hold back, because none of it's personal, no matter what comes out. And it's just a fast track to cleaning the channel, because it's the mind. So keep going, don't hold back. I've had 2 great encounters today already, saying things that I just normally wouldn't say, and it was when I wouldn't say them that the ego would assess motivation to the comments as if it meant something. As soon as I let it pass through, it was literally not in my awareness at all. It's like there's no identity with it.
Right.
And yet from the outside it could seem as if, why would you say that? Or it's got some I love your story, like with the blue jacket.
Yeah.
With JP.
Yeah, I can tell the story again to you guys. I was in Australia last year. We were in Yarrie, and one morning I just went to the living room, and he was there wearing this blue jacket, and I don't know why, I just had this feeling I couldn't stop looking at the blue jacket, and I thought, oh my God, he looks just amazing in this blue jacket, and I just want to say something about it. And yet at the same time there was some kind of judgment, thinking I really don't want to make a comment about what people are wearing. So I was holding it back, but I noticed the more I was holding it back, the stronger it becomes. It was so strong. I was like, oh my God, he looks so amazingly good in this blue jacket, and I have all these feelings. And then in the afternoon, we went to watch a movie, and he made a comment about he left his blue jacket in the theater or something, and then that suddenly it just blurred out of my mouth. I said, I have to tell you how amazing you looked in that blue jacket. I just have to say that. And he just burst into laughter. I said, why are you laughing? And he said, I made a prayer this morning because I was going to throw that jacket away. I said, if anybody going to make a comment about that jacket, then that's a sign that I'm going to keep it. and I was just thinking, I'm just a channel. I'm here to deliver a message, and really nothing else. And the fact that I become identified with the message, I become the message. I love the jacket in that moment, in that day, and I don't love it anymore after I deliver that message. It was just, I become the message. That's the way the spirit speaks through. You don't just speak without association. You actually, almost like you become the message, and you are the message, you're delivering it. Then after it is gone, it's not in my awareness, I see him differently, and I don't see the blue jacket anymore. And so, it's like everything we're doing, that's really wash away this idea of healing. We have something to heal. I had a preference to that blue jacket. You know what I mean? Like if you see the bigger picture and the whole context of what's really going on, who is prompting you? Who are you? You, the channel of the spirit. Then what is really there to heal except these obstacles that's constantly judging and constantly saying you don't say these things because of this or that.
Both of my examples led to deeper communication, which is
right.
Which is the core. Instead of can't say certain things, it's like actually laughter with one of them, and the other one just really a nice communication. Just before I came into this show, which is why I was almost late. But the preference thing, I'm thinking, I was at the monastery. I think you were part of it. I went in to get a chai because Suzanne had said they'd bought me some chai tea. They'd asked for a list of things that you'd like. So I put chai and there was none in there. And then some kind of a frustration came up or something. I didn't know what it was actually. It was more like a guilt, like, oh, I've even asked for chai tea. This isn't something I should be doing. So I just left the kitchen and went to my dome and just sitting there praying, help me see this differently. And then David calls right in that minute. He's like, hey, Jason, I'm over here in the kitchen. Do you want some chai tea? I was guided to bring over my big bin and sit there. And I just missed him. But it was showing me that it's not preferences aren't preferences anymore. They're actually, again, just like you're saying, things to be used to communicate, you know?
Right.
At the same minute I was asking for the chai, his hand was on the bin, bringing it in
to the kitchen
to connect, and we had like a 2-hour talk. And
right. Yeah.
So it's really leaving this whole letting go of anything and actually stepping into it. Everything is the Holy Spirit.
Right. That's it. That's beautiful.
It's exciting. There's a freedom, but no more people. There's no more control. Coming out of the blue. Like your blue coat.
Yeah.
Well, it's like the last characteristic of a teacher of God is open-mindedness in everything. You know, there's no one path or another, and if you have a subtle avoidance of any path, because you're supposed to have the pathless path or whatever, you know, it's like, no, really being open to the use of all of them. I was thinking of a friend in Europe who was calling for one of our friends to head over there, and as soon as the idea was proposed of sharing, you know, what's going on for us, it was like, wait a minute, my way is not that way. It's feel some tightness or closed. My way is simple and does not involve that. But right there again, you know, there's no exclusion really.
Yeah, the open-mindedness. I mean, in the end, we gotta be open-minded that we're not guilty or there is nothing to heal. You know, everything we feel, there is a bigger picture, there is a reason for it, and it's not just about fix it and letting it go, and it's about maybe there isn't a reason for it all and I don't know it. Let me be open to be shown what this is about, and a lot of it is around communication, actually, and joining with a brother. So like that's the blue jacket or any of the things that we feel. If we hold it back, it becomes a judgment.
Crazy. It's only when you hold back,
Yeah.
then you're holding something, and the ego's
Yeah, it's when we hold back, not having the body being used really. Then we lost it. We just like
Mhm.
lost to remembrance of the identity completely.
This is so. I mean, this is so exciting to me. Like to just to keep going with this. It's like the last barrier or something. Like no filters, no channel. Just you know what I'm saying. It's like
Yeah.
just don't hold back.
Yeah.
It goes. Guidance goes out. You know.
Yeah.
Other people goes out.
Yeah.
Paths.
Yeah.
Healing.
Yeah.
It's like truly seeing no error because.
You don't see error in yourself.
Yeah.
You know. You don't see contradiction in yourself.
Mhm.
You don't try to be consistent in form.
I was even at the beginning of this thing. It said there's no ego, and twice I've said, yeah, the ego, da da da, like even that. You know?
Mhm. Yeah.
It's just what serves in the moment.
Yeah.
This was so given because I came downstairs and I had Laverne in my mind to join with, and she was in there with you. We had a beautiful joining. She went up with me to do some video editing. Suzanne texted me saying she wanted to go with Laverne to this thing. Laverne's with me. I bring Laverne down. Then I'm like, I'm feeling like going for a little walk. And then right as I'm about to say shake, you say, do you want to get a shake? So we go, yeah, let's go get a shake. We walk out. Suzanne says, can you tell Lisa that she's not coming with me? So we walk to tell Lisa, and Lisa's like, can I come for a shake with you? We grab her for a shake. Turns out we're talking about this show, getting clear on, you know, live and how to do it. It's like everything's just so perfectly orchestrated. It's unbelievable. It's believable.
Yeah, I like when Lisa said to me, like when we were talking about the show, she said just show up, and I just love that because it is all that we need to do. Just show up. Just show up and see what happens. Just show up and give everything you have in that moment. And if there's nothing, there's nothing.
Anyone in the audience have any?
Any of the audience wants to come up? I've been having a lot of dreams recently. They're all around one theme. Pretty much night after night after night. And it's all around this theme of I don't exist. At the beginning, it's kind of like almost like a gradual ease in. At the beginning, first few days, it was around death. First, because my father is already passed, and so in my dream, sometimes he came to my dream, and sometimes I all of a sudden remembered and then I ask, aren't you supposed to be dead? And then he would disappear. So sometimes, yeah, I just can't remember in my dream whether he should be alive or dead. But that, at the beginning of this series of dreams recently, he came a lot, and I would be confused about, I said I want to communicate with my parents, but I need to communicate with the one that is alive. And as soon as I said that, and I just get clarity, okay, I know who is alive. Because I vaguely remember in my dream one of the two is alive. And then as soon as I said I need to communicate with the one that is alive, then it was my dad who is alive. So, and it happened a few times. Every time I woke up, I felt that's really bizarre. That it was so clear in my dream, the one that is alive is my dad. Then what followed was my mom was telling me she is about to die, and she said we had this arrangement before we came, and we finished, like our mother-daughter kind of assignment. And I said, no, I don't want this to finish. She said, but it's already finished, and we have agreed. So that when I woke up, I was like, wow, what is going on? Is she gonna die? And then after that, she came to my dream again after the next night, and she said, you're not alive, you know that. And I said, what do you mean? She said, you think you exist, but actually you're dead a long time ago. And then in that moment, I realized I was not, like the body was not alive, but I was alive. But the body was not really there. And actually I was never seen by people. People only could hear me or feel me, but they could never see me. And it was really, every time I woke up in the middle of it, and I was scared. But then recently, the most few days was just direct. I would dream that I actually don't exist, and people will walk right past me. And I would just wake up and feeling terrified. Then in the morning, I was thinking, what am I so afraid of? Like, I've been talking about these ideas for years. I don't exist. Finally. But then when I actually had that experience, it was terrifying. It was the most terrifying thing. And I was just thinking, oh my God, that's the gap, when we talk about these metaphysical ideas, how much I love talking about it, and how truly, the mind is ready to accept it completely and authentically. I can feel the gap when I woke up in the morning from those dreams, actually. And it just wouldn't stop every night. It's like that recently. So I don't really know where I'm going from this, but I was just kind of pondering on the gap, the concept of I don't exist, and the experience of I don't exist, and the gap there.
Dissolution of the self-concept. Because what's coming to my mind is Thomas Vieira. I don't know if you saw on Facebook, somebody put out this a series of clips of him over the past years that hadn't really been shown. He was the one who died recently. And at the very end, he's waving goodbye, and he's like, goodbye everyone, and then it just goes off into this white light. And a friend up in Edmonton said that when that scene happened, she was really enjoying all of this, and then they went by, and then she was like when the disappearance into the white light, just the terror came over her, and she was like, whoa, struck by how much fear there is to the dissolution of ego. I do not exist.
Right.
Yeah. Which is why it clings to everything. That's why abandonment is at the core. It's because it's like you're gonna leave me. I'm gonna be left behind. But it's like it's screaming that it's disappearing. And it knows that in the thaw, right before he goes with his last word.
Dread.
Yeah, at this point, this really isn't even a path of playing things out or creature comforts. Because we were talking today of the idea of even having an experience, like a sexual experience, for example, of like, oh, missing out or trying to play something out. But actually, I was saved from that idea. Like, it was up in mind as, oh, maybe that would have been something. And it was like, no, actually, to even go in that direction of thinking you need to play something out, that doesn't work. It just does not work anymore. To get into this devotion, that would in some ways enhance like the self-concept. It's like it's more like if things are presented as you keep going in your purpose, but playing out, it's pretty cool now. I can really see that was just a trap. To the ego, it makes a lot of sense. To resolve it, you've got to experience it, but the only thing you have to experience is peace of mind. And only the Spirit knows how. So that's why we've been kind of celebrating this idea of letting go of the idea, now this is radical, but personal inspiration. And just going with what is obvious, what is given, where is the real draw, what's being, like the show tonight. It wasn't a movie, it wasn't Maleficent, it wasn't
a
talk. It was just like we're all drawn here. Everyone can feel it. That's the cool thing about community is when you're all connected, you can just feel that pull and you kind of go with it.
I think what is at the core is when people have problem around the guidance, it's really there could be assumption that the guidance is individual guidance. So I don't want other people to tell me what my guidance is. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But actually, what we really want to see eventually is there is only one guidance, and one guidance is one plan for everybody. So if you're doing what you're truly guided to do, that has to benefit me. That has to be exactly complementary to what my guidance is. Like, you just need to do what you're inspired to do, and that is the best for me. And that's the best for you, that's the best for everyone. And if we all tune into this one guidance, we should have absolutely no conflict in just following the one guidance. And today, I guess, there was this question around following individual inspiration versus, it's almost like when Laverne and I were talking, there was this question like, can't I just follow my inspiration? And why is that seems to still be like, okay, just hold it for a while. Do this first because this is given, and you don't just run with the inspiration if the whole teaching is about following inspiration. But then we get into this discussion of, I said, do you really know what your inspiration is? Do you feel you're certain? And that is, where we actually not necessarily know or feel clear. It is especially in terms of the form, what that needs to play out that represent my will right now. And when there is no clarity, the world will reflect that. Almost like something is not happening, or I want that, not this, but why is this keep presenting? But it's just really this mind is just still needs to clear up.
It's like still the belief in choice, as if there is this inspiration or not, like you can have it or not, but as long as that's there, you got to go deeper. Again, what's presented, what's obvious, and nothing, no one on the planet can fight that. It's what's presented.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's no loss of control.
Right.
in the truest sense.
Yeah.
Nothing can be taken away.
Never had.
Nothing's
Yeah.
lost. Nothing can be taken.
Yeah.
There's going to be no argument. I wanted to. You know, if you're just like, well, what's given? There's
What-
never a conflict.
There is never conflict.
That was the other thing. It's like we get to share all our epiphanies the last few days. Last night when Suzanne was talking in the gathering, I just had this feeling of like such like love. I wasn't even necessarily connecting with the words or hearing specifics, but just a feeling like that was what was required, and that was the presence that served the whole, and just knowing and feeling that. So beautiful. It was all about, there really isn't anything in the words. There's just a presence underneath it all. And then I walked into your room, shared it with you, and just kept going. While you were editing your talk. Deciding if something should be cut out or not. It's not in the words, it's just in the presence.
Mm-hmm.
It's like closer and closer to this is just like fluff over top of something much deeper. Not separate from it, but thin veil. At the end?
Sure. This could be the end.
Back to the blue.
Back to the blue.
Out of the blue. Right.
Out of the blue goes Princess.
Pilot and final episode.
Okay. That feels good. Thank you.